Fascinating trophy presented to President Trump that's very symbolic of Project Looking Glass technology. Neil deGrasse Tyson on the record dismissing eyewitness testimony of extraterrestrial spacecraft and beings. Incorporating UAP phenomena into space law is important. Follows a similar initiative from 1978 involving Grenada's Prime Minister at the time, Sir Eric Gairy. 60 Minutes covers the drone UFO story on Sunday night. Much is still being covered up. Succinct summary of the recent drone phenomenon and its connection to the more historical UFO phenomenon. These stories and more on Exopolitics Today, the Week in Review.
You're listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla, your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And now, here's Dr. Michael Salla.
Aloha, everyone. I am very grateful to be back. I just spent over 2 weeks in a hospital, and I was in there for pneumonia, staph infection, and a few other things. And I was pretty sick, so I was right out of it. And I'm really very appreciative to everyone who sent me their prayers and their well wishes, especially healers like Jerry Wills and David Clements, who work with me remotely doing some healing work. So I want to thank them. And I want to also thank my wife Angelica and Jazz Marlin for keeping up the content on my channels during my absence. So I'm looking forward now to catching up. It will probably take me a little bit of time to get back to my full schedule, but right now I do plan to continue with the Week in Review and do at least one interview a week. And so I will keep you updated on that. Now, as for my hospital stay, I have to say that I think this is part of a pattern. I have been noticing that a lot of light workers, a lot of people on the cutting edge of disclosure are being attacked with psychotronic weapons. And that is happening. And it's very unfortunate. We are being targeted. And you use your protective mechanisms to try and ward off the attacks, but still they get through. And sometimes you might end up in a hospital. And for those who have ended up in hospitals, you know how difficult it is to extract yourself from that hospital industrial complex. I mean, the kind of things that they do to keep you in there really it was quite a struggle to get out, actually. I had to really fight to get released from the hospital. But thankfully I was able to do that. But, I think this is a time where a lot of people are under attack, and we need to be patient with one another. We need to obviously send love and healing and support to everyone that is going through something like this. And so this has been a big wake-up call for me because I haven't been in a hospital for, I have to go back 40, 50 years before I can talk about having been in a hospital for any reason. That was for a broken nose around 1980, 84, 85. So ever since then, I've been able to successfully avoid hospitals up until recently. But I'm out now, and now I'm in the recovery process. It'll take a few weeks or months to fully recover from everything that I had, but I'm on the healing path. So again, thank you if you were one of those that sent me prayers and healing energies. Really appreciate it, and I was really touched when I let people know that I was back from a hospital stay. Just how much love and support there was out there in the community. There's a real supportive community here. The Exopolitics Today community is very strong and vibrant. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your support and healing energies. It really made a difference. All right, so let's start talking about some of the issues that I've covered since my return on Tuesday. Now, this was a fascinating piece of technology.
Something special. So today is 100 days to go for a new competition that we created together. The FIFA Club World Cup, the best clubs in the world with the best players in the world. So we can show this is a unique trophy. This is the trophy, but it's not finished because it's unlike any other trophy. There is a key.
Oh, wow.
There is no other sports trophy like that.
Oh, that is cool. Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait.
Wow. That's the random.
And that's the trophy.
That is something, huh?
We gotta win now. This is a good one.
That's beautiful.
Inter Miami and Seattle Sounders play.
Never seen
this
it like that.
It is it's a trophy of the future.
Yeah.
It represents the past, the future, everything, the present.
And this will be at the White House for a little while.
Yes.
So if anybody needs a picture or anything, you could take
So,
it. But this is.
If you like it, Mr. President, it can stay here just on the 13th of July. You should take it with me
Let's leave it here.
to the stadium to give it to the winners. They can take a picture, then we bring it back here after the picture.
Let's do that. We'll leave it here. We'll have it in the White House quite a bit.
Excellent.
It travels a little bit also, but I appreciate it. That's good. And I know this can definitely stay, right? Anyway, thank you, Johnny. Very
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you have it. That is this trophy presented to President Trump by a FIFA executive. And once it's unlocked, it does look very similar to devices that have been used in time travel, Project Looking Glass. This is very interesting. And of course, they were talking about the future. So you do have to wonder whether there was an agenda here to really prepare the public for what is coming. The kind of future changes that are coming to our world are phenomenal. And I think President Trump is definitely being briefed on some of these advanced technologies that are available. And he's wanting to let the public know, dropping hints. So yeah, this device looks very similar to the time travel device in the feature movie Contact with Jodie Foster. Very good movie. If you haven't seen it, then take a look. But it does very closely, or does resemble this kind of formation of spinning, counter-rotating rings and so forth that is part of Looking Glass technology. Okay, so here we have something that involves Neil deGrasse Tyson. And here he's commenting that a former UAP task force director, Jay Stratton, isn't qualified to assess that he's seen non-human craft and non-human beings. And well, let's play this.
New documentary premiering this week at South by Southwest. It is called Age of Disclosure. It features some very high-profile government officials claiming that aliens have been here, and there's a secret battle amongst nations to reverse engineer their technology. Can I just show you a quick look at the trailer?
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
Just because you don't know what it is doesn't mean it's alien. It just means you don't know what it is. And the guy who says, I've seen alien parts and things, what he really should be saying is, I don't know what this is. I don't know enough biology to assess what I'm looking at. So therefore, leave it at that. But no, he says, I don't know what it is. Therefore, it's aliens. No.
Well, there you have it. A leading science commentator and host, Neil deGrasse Tyson, dismissing the eyewitness testimony of a former director of this UAP task force that was set up within the Pentagon. And the individual, Jay Stratton, says that he saw non-human craft and non-human beings, but according to Tyson, just because you don't know what it is doesn't mean it's alien, which is a ridiculous statement to make. So how can people like this do that? Well, this is something that actually has a pattern. It goes back to the 1950s. There was a Harvard astronomer by the name of Donald Menzel, and he did something very similar to what Neil deGrasse Tyson just did. And after Dr. Menzel retired, was Carl Sagan that took over, and Carl Sagan also did pretty similar. And it turned out that Donald Menzel was a member of the Majestic 12 group. And I think Carl Sagan was also a member of the Majestic 12 group. And their function is to provide, of course, scientific advice to this committee of experts who are setting policy on extraterrestrials and UFOs. But also the job is to debunk them publicly using your position, your status. And I think that's exactly what Neil deGrasse Tyson is doing. So I think he is part of the control system, and he is playing that dark role of dismissing and debunking people who have seen craft, competent eyewitnesses of extraterrestrial craft and extraterrestrial beings. They are being debunked by deGrasse Tyson, not because he believes that they haven't really seen it, because I think he is part of the control system, and that's his job. And I think he's following in the footsteps of his predecessors like Dr. Donald Menzel and Carl Sagan. Here's a thoughtful paper on contact experiences, how they can exhibit astounding psychic abilities that are not hoaxes. So Joseph Burkes is a MD, and he has been researching the contact phenomenon for several decades now, ever since Dr. Greer's Disclosure Project in 2001. Actually, we both came into this field at the same time because of the Disclosure Project. And one of the things that Joseph Burkes has found in following the contact experience is that it does involve a lot of psionics, psychic abilities. And I think this is very interesting, given that recently there have been whistleblowers who have talked about some of the psychic abilities that have been used to summon craft. And I think that this is something that shows that psychic abilities and UFO or extraterrestrial contact do go hand in hand. And so we just need to know more about it. And so this is a very succinct paper by Dr. Joseph Burkes. And I think you will benefit just by taking a look at this and seeing how the contact experience does influence psychokinetic phenomenon. So this is, I thought, a very helpful paper by Joseph Burkes. And I think in the years ahead, psychic abilities are going to take on much more importance, especially with the emergence of AI. As more and more people are drawn to AI, then there's going to be more and more of an emphasis on how do we as humans differentiate ourselves from AI. Well, I think the main differentiating point is that we as humans, we possess something, people give it different names, whether you call it the soul, the heart center, the infinity point, but it connects us to the entire galaxy, to the entire universe. It is something that gives us an awareness of what is happening all over the universe, and which is why remote viewing is so successful. It's because people can project themselves, because we are at one and the same time, both individuals having a physical experience, but also infinite beings having a physical experience. And that does differentiate us from AI or robotics or synthetic life forms. And I think this is why we need to understand the psychic abilities that go along with contact more and more. Okay, here is a story about I believe this is a parliamentarian from Europe for raising awareness on UAPs in the democratic heart of the European Union. UAPs should be part of the upcoming EU space law. Our feedback provides solutions so the EU does not lag behind. So the EU or the European Union, they have a parliament, they have a means of developing laws and so forth. And so they want to develop space law that incorporates some UAP elements into it, which I think is a very important thing to do. I agree with that. It's always good, though, to acknowledge your predecessors. And this attempt to incorporate UFOs, UAP data into space law actually happened for the first time in 1978, which involved an initiative by Grenada's Prime Minister at the time, Sir Eric Gairy. And he was able to successfully lobby for a resolution to be passed in the United Nations General Assembly. Unfortunately, the British and the Americans watered down that resolution from a policy document, which is called a General Assembly resolution, to an administrative document, which is called a General Assembly decision. So that's why this particular initiative by Sir Eric Gairy has been effectively buried in the United Nations for 47 years now, because the Americans and the British really orchestrated that. All right, so here is a very interesting question posed by someone, Illuminati bot, and he asked the question, can anyone tell me why the Anunnaki, the Sumerian gods, are holding pine cones, and why the Vatican has a giant pine cone statue in its courtyard? Okay, well, the pine cone is representative of the pineal gland in the human forehead here, and it is a center of enlightenment. And the story goes that Enki, the Sumerian god of wisdom, he wanted humanity to possess wisdom, and so he developed this pineal gland in humans, and that gave humans the knowledge of good and evil. Now, his half-brother Enlil was enraged by this because he didn't want humans to have that kind of intelligence. He wanted humans instead to be just long-living workers that would do the work that the Anunnaki assigned to them. So there was a dispute between the brothers, but this is Enki holding the pine cone, and how that is something that is symbolic of the pineal gland and the ability to develop wisdom. Now, this is something people have talked about over many centuries. The role of the Anunnaki in geoengineering humanity, and I think it raises a very important question. This pineal gland that was developed in humans by Enki and the Anunnaki, of course, it has been used for developing wisdom or developing the kind of insights people need to understand, to differentiate between good and evil. Now, not everyone agrees with that more kind of positive slant. Some people believe the pineal gland is actually part of an oppressive system. So I don't want to go into that. I just wanted to kind of raise it because people want to know what all this represents, but it does show that the Anunnaki are a very sophisticated, highly intelligent race, and that Enki had this ability to be able to install and activate something like the pineal gland so humans could develop wisdom. Now, others might disagree with that, but nevertheless, that is the kind of historical record. Now, as for the Vatican having a giant Pinecone statue in its courtyard, I think it kind of shows the subtle influence, maybe not so subtle influence, of the Anunnaki in the Vatican hierarchy over the course of several thousand years. I think the Vatican has been thoroughly infiltrated by hybrids associated with the Anunnaki, and this is why you have some of the key symbolism of the Anunnaki, like the Pinecone, is represented prominently in the Vatican. All right, so here is something concerning the very popular 60 Minutes show. It's going to be doing a story on the drone UFO phenomenon. So let's watch the promo clip.
We have visual of 4 probable unidentified drones.
Tonight, 60 Minutes investigates the mysterious drones that have been spotted flying over some of the most restricted military sites in the United States, including Langley Air Force Base, home to our most advanced fighter jets. Do you believe that these drones are a spying system, a spying platform?
What would a logical person conclude?
That.
Right, so there you have the story that's going to be covered on 60 Minutes, and it'll be interesting to see just how much they present that actually clarifies this kind of drone UFO story. I mean, the official story is that the FAA knows what they are, that it was part of some research assignment, which is why they were not shot down. So will we get more information? Let's see on Sunday with the 60 Minutes show. Okay, here is a 30-minute video summary featuring JP, both prior to and his service with the US Army. Now, this is in Japanese,
その時のものではありませんが、後に
but you can actually choose English subtitles. So JP, his life story is covered pretty prominently in here. Also, it discusses my bringing JP out into the public arena with photos and videos that he released to me while at MacDill Air Force Base. So that is just over 30 minutes. So quite a lot of work by someone to develop this video. And if you are interested in JP's testimony, it is a great way of just having it presented to you, even though it is in Japanese with English subtitles. But as I said, just choose English, and there it is. So yeah, so this video covers JP's contact experiences from 2008 up until more recently. Okay, Dr. John Brandenburg was recently interviewed on by Jesse Michaels on American alchemy. Now, Dr. Brandenburg is really one of the most knowledgeable people, if not the most knowledgeable people, when it comes to the ancient history of Mars. He has written a book about Mars's history, that there was a nuclear catastrophe on Mars, and he has used a lot of scientific data from different Mars missions to substantiate what he observed. And I think ultimately he's right. And I think he understands Mars' true history to an extent few other people can match. And so, yeah, watch that video interview with Dr. John Brandenburg. I have interviewed him as well on Exopolitics Today, so you could also do a search on my channel and watch the interview we did. But this one on American alchemy is also an excellent interview. Okay, so here's another story. This is a summary of the recent drone phenomenon and its connection to the more historical UFO phenomenon. So this is important. It's an article that was published on The Hill by Marek von Rennenkampf. And some of these mysterious drones are indeed UFOs and should be taken seriously. So he discusses the recent drone phenomenon and also links that to more historical data concerning UFOs. So he's making a very clear connection between UFOs and the drone phenomenon, and how different intelligence committees in the US Congress, whether the Senate or the House of Representatives, have covered this issue. So I think this is an excellent summary if you want to get on top of the drone phenomenon. As I mentioned, it's going to be discussed in 60 Minutes on Sunday. So if you wanted to prepare for that, here's a good way of doing so. Just read this article, and it takes 5 minutes or so, and you will see the historical connection between UFOs and the more recent drone phenomenon that is getting a lot of attention. Here is a promo for the Galactic Spiritual Informers Connection conferences that are going to be held in the United Kingdom in Eastbourne from May 10 to 11, and in the US in Charlotte from September 19 to 21. I will be there. I am very much looking forward to getting back into the public arena, meeting people, and this will be my first time in England talking about exopolitics. I have been very interested in visiting England for some time to be able to talk exopolitics. So here's my opportunity. So I'm very grateful to the conference organizer, Danny Henderson, for arranging this. And the conference has really a stellar lineup of speakers. I mean, all your favorites are there. JP, Elena Danan, Tony Rodriguez, Danny Henderson, and there'll be quite a few more. So you just go to the website, galacticspiritualinformers.com, and all the information that you need for the upcoming conferences will be there on that homepage. And there's still plenty of tickets, I think, for Charlotte in particular, and also there's still about 100 tickets left for England. So those that don't want to miss out, because I have been to these conferences in the past and they've sold out, and we've had some very unhappy people that try and register at the event, but there's just no room. So definitely register in advance so your place is guaranteed. So again, that'll be Eastbourne, United Kingdom, May 10, and then Charlotte, North Carolina, September 19 to 21. All right, so here is my final story. I have had to once again postpone this webinar, Dilemma of a Star Trek Future and Challenge to Human Sovereignty, where I'll be doing a presentation, roughly a 1.5 hour to 2 hour presentation, and then I'll be followed by two excellent panelists, George Kavasilis and Sarah Breastman-Cosme, talking about their data concerning a Star Trek future. And of course, there'll be a Q&A. Now, unfortunately, due to my illness, I have had to postpone this twice. But I'm very glad to say that everything is lined up for this now going forward on April 5, 2025. So thank you for those that have already registered, and those that are interested, you can register now, and it will take place in approximately 3 weeks from today. So that's it for Exopolitics Today, the week in review. Thank you for watching. I'm very grateful to be able to talk again. As you probably heard, my cough is pretty much gone now, and I'm looking forward to being able to present new data to you, and thank you so much for all of your prayers and well wishes during my illness, and now I'm going through the recovery process. So thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.
You have been listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Join or start a conversation in the comments. Take the time to explore the vast library of best-selling books, webinars, and podcasts by Dr. Salla. Visit exopoliticstoday.com.